You already know that I'm a magician, and I always have a request while going to the conferences, because the only disappointment that you can have while being a magician is the disappointment of your parents, because you do not have a typical job. So I have a small request for you. I will come back to the place where Olga stands, and we will make our entrance to the stage. And please make a really huge round of applause, all the noises and stuff like this, so I can actually record this and send this to my parents to show that I've actually made some success in my life, okay? Can we do it? Yes? Okay, so let me go back, and I will just count like 3, 2, 1, go, and then you make all the noises, and we'll enter the stage. Okay, just like... Okay. Hold on. The video. Okay, 3, 2, 1, go! Look, Mom, we're famous! Yes! Oh, I didn't record that one. Oh, okay. It's recorded. Okay, send to Mom. Who's laughing now? Perfect. Okay. We're so happy to be here with you today, because both of us, Olga and I, we have some particular experience that first led us to frustration, and then to understanding that some things just
are better together, like peanut butter and jelly, movies and popcorn.
Or QA and design. So our experience through the years of work led us to understanding that QA and design, they are not a handoff. Even if some people may think that they are just like this weird uncle that comes to the family parties, says all kind of weird jokes, and bring all the family dramas, and you have to invite them because they are part of the family. QA and design, when worked together, are something way more beneficial. They are the cornerstone of success for all the projects, and that's something that we would like to share with you today.
Our goal for today is to show you how it looks like in real life, or to be more precise, in our lives, and give you the ideas that you can bring back to your teams and implement as you wish. Here is the core idea we want to leave you with today: that design doesn't stop when you are done with those pixel-perfect screens in Figma. That's actually just a starting point. The real test happens when people actually use what you have designed.
And that's the place where QA kicks in. What QA does? Well, basically, we're telling to the parents that their baby is ugly. You're laughing at that. Got you there. But there's more sense into this if you think about it. But let's start from the thing that I was told exactly this when I started 15 years ago in quality assurance, that you will tell people that they are wrong. But it's not about the criticism. It's about the different perspective. Because quality assurance, when they kick in, they help designers to understand what the experience will really look like. Because you as designers are creating a vision what the entire experience look like, and we as a QA can tell you how it really works. We know all the different edge cases, all the flows, weird clicks, moments when users can hesitate, how to proceed further. And this is a real value that we can bring to you. Okay, so let's talk about the old ways. I'm old enough to remember the golden era of VHS in Poland, and also the early approach to the quality assurance. So back in the day, the quality assurance was placed at the very end of a development process. What happens at the very last stage of a process? Well, everything gets accumulated at the end of a process. all the delays, all frustration, all the findings, everything that you need to manage at the very last stage gets there. And then when the clock is already ticking and the deadline is right behind the corner, and we finally get our hands on design as a quality assurance, we may realize that things doesn't work as we thought they will. What happens then? Well, probably we should now invite Freddie Mercury to sing us one of his greatest hits. Insanity grows, and under pressure, we're breaking. Sounds familiar? I hope so.
So what happens? As Grzegorz mentioned, QA catches issues, but at that point, fixing them is slow, expensive, and frustrating. And here is the kicker. Most of those bugs aren't even bugs at all. They are usability gaps. They are edge cases nobody have thought about sooner, or even behaviors that only shows up when a real person interacts with the product. The problem isn't that QA was too late to the party. It's the fact that they were never invited in earlier. And we are left out with misunderstandings, missed intentions, and ultimately friction for the user. And that is why this setup is kind of a dead end. That is why in our company, we started to look for a new solution, a new setup. A setup in which instead of chasing bugs, we will spot them ahead. And our guinea pig was a mobile team in which Zidane is a QA engineer and Eva is a product designer. Eva is actually here with us today. Eva, can you wave to everyone?
Eva, can you show to everyone that you are not AI made? You're a real person? Yeah, that's Eva. Let's give Eva a round of applause. Yes.
And this is actually one of my favorite screenshots that Zidane has shared with the mobile team after Eva spotted that they all missed a bug. And you know, it's funny, but it also shows something really important, that QA are not the only ones that spot the bugs. Designers do too, just a different kind. For example, in one of our flows, the body text seemed to be just a little bit off. QA hadn't flagged it because it technically worked. But when Eva inspected it, she realized that the devs had implemented the text to be at 100% opacity instead of 80% as per her design. And to most of the people, this change is so slight that they didn't even catch that. But for the user, it created this subtle feeling of heaviness that wasn't really intentional. And that is exactly the kind of a bug that only a designer would spot.
And that's why cooperation is so important. Bring QA early to your design, to what you designed, so he can spot the usability issues early on. If you find the issues early on, they will be easier and cheaper to fix. And this, for us as a manager, is a perfect way to convince us that you need to have a top-tier designer team. Why? Because, you know, I'm a manager myself, so I know that we, managers, have a goat memory. So we can only remember 3 seconds back. So when a goat will see a stone, it will go like, oh, a stone. Then it will make a go around and go, oh, a stone. And then make another one and go, oh, a stone, and over again. I think that most of you heard the question many times, why I need designers, why I need good designers in my project, right? So this is the reason. When you shift the quality left, which means that you start to test the designs, the requirements, everything that we have as an input in project, early on, you will spot the issues early on, and thanks to that, they will be cheaper and easier to fix. Giving something in return, QA can invite designers to review what's actually been implemented. And for you as designers, it's a perfect moment to ask the most important question in life. Why? And when I was a little kid, I was asking my parents over and over again, why, mommy? Why I need to do this? Why we're doing things like this? And often I've heard back, well, it's a common sense. Or, when you'll be more mature, you'll understand. And then I knew exactly that they do not have a really good reason for doing such kind of things. Now I have kids myself, and pretty much I'm experiencing this on my own. But when you will see the designs, or actually how the designs were implemented, and you will notice that someone did not follow what you've designed, ask why. And if you will hear back, well, it's a historical reasons, or it's a budget constraints, probably someone did not have a really good reason to not stick with your designs. And you can make them accountable for it. So this back and forth helps us, first of all, to stay aligned, but then to shift the focus from not only delivering a product that works as it should, but also feels as it should.
Now you may ask what design gets from the QA. And I think that the perfect example is also the screenshot. So in this exact presentation, we had a bug. I think that we have like 5 designers looking at this presentation. Me and Grzegorz also looked at it, and we hadn't spotted. We hadn't spotted that typo. And Zidane, he just opened it, and he was like, yeah, you got a typo here. Come on. And when we started collaborating more closely, I realized something, that QA has a superpower. They see the edge cases. They are the ones asking those really uncomfortable but super essential questions, like what happens if user does X instead of Y? Or what if they log into the really weird device? Or what if they skip that step? And this perspective changes everything. It's not about finding problems. It's about making our designers stronger and more resilient. So we can spot the usability gaps ahead when it's still easy to fix them. And that's the real value. QA helps us bridge the intention of the design with the reality of how users behave. Together, we are not just preventing bugs, but we are building experiences that hold up under real-world conditions and earn user trust.
So let's take a look on the other side of the coin, so what we as a QA can get from the design. There are things that men can never understand. Decorative pillows and hand towels. Why? Why we even need them? So we as a QA can never understand the priorities and flows until we'll be able to see the designs. Why? Well, because in IT, we cannot base our work on common sense. We have to base our work on requirements, specifications, and the design. There's no alternative to that, unless you're willing to try witchcraft, fortune-telling, or wet finger on a wind. I tried all of them. They don't work. So when we will see the visual specification, it's actually our pure gold for us as a QA, because we can understand the context of what and how is going to be introduced into the product. From this perspective, I can do my work better. I can design better test cases, I can cover more edge cases, I can understand how to write a more user experience-aware bugs. And also, thanks to that, shorten the debugging time, which again, saves money.
I think that all of you know this kind of a stereotype that QAs are the bug hunters. And you know, I even called them that in this exact presentation. But when we started to collaborate, I realized they have such a much more important role to play. They are actually user advocates.
Because QA spends tremendous amount of time into the shoes of someone who is not aware of how the product was designed, how it works, and how to actually use it. And from this perspective, people like QAs can spot the issues that others often miss.
You will say things like, this screen technically works, but if I was a user, I wouldn't know what to do next. Or this feels a little bit different than it does in the other flow. Is that intentional? And that feedback goes way above just finding bugs. It's about representing the user in every interaction.
And this helps us to raise the bar for all of us. Because it's no longer, again, about the product that works, but it's about the product that is well designed and feels consistent to the user. And thanks to that, we're earning the most valuable currency in nowadays world, a user trust.
So, we have painted this beautiful picture for you of all the benefits that you may get from working with the QAs from the very beginning. But the real question is how to actually start from the day one. And we have prepared this simple and short checklist that you might find helpful. Firstly, always share the why, not just the screens. QA works best when they know what problem we are solving and what the whole experience should feel like, not only how it should look like. Second, ask the QA what kind of documentation they will find the most helpful. For some, it will be annotated mockups, for other user flows, and maybe for some even acceptance criteria. Instead of guessing, just ask. It will save you a lot of frustration. Third, schedule a quick kickoff call at the early stage of the project. And on this call, you can actually define how you want to set up your collaboration, how you will communicate, what kind of documentation they might want. And fourth, invite the QA to the meeting with the product managers. I know that this might sound a bit controversial, but when QAs are invited in early and hear the requirements when they are being discussed, they can think of the edge cases, test scenarios right away instead of playing catch-up or, wondering what was said behind closed doors. And ultimately, decide upfront how you will handle unclear moments. So if they spot something that will make this question mark pop above their heads, should they ping you on Slack? Should they write a Jira comment? Or should they maybe bring it to the design review? It all depends. And this short list is actually something that changed the whole dynamic in our team. It's no longer QA testing our work, but QA and design building quality together from the very beginning.
So if you will have to take away one thing from this presentation, it will be this sentence. Bugs are easier to catch and fix early on, so as design gaps. Ask your QAs to check on your design and ask them to invite you to review their work. And there's one simple thing that all of you can do to actually make it happen in your project. Just give it a try. Reach out to the QA, invite them to cooperate, and maybe, in the same way as we do, you will find yourself that some things actually does work better together, like QA
and design.
Thank you.